How's it going, everyone? This is the George here, and today I'm going to be reviewing Scream 7. That's right, the seventh movie in the Scream franchise, the fifth movie in the Scream franchise. I'm going to be reviewing on this channel. I already reviewed Screams 1, 2, 3, and 6. Hopefully, I'll get a chance to talk about Screams 4 and 5 this Halloween. I did want to talk about them before this movie came out, but I didn't get a chance to. But, anyways, we're now into Scream 7, and this time, Kevin Williamson, who originally wrote Scream back in 1995 and has written Screams 1, 2, and 4. Is not only one of the writers, but also the director. Nev Campbell returns as Sidney Prescott as well as Gail Weathers. And we are introduced to Sidney's family, her husband, Mark Evans, played by Joe McHale, and Sidney's daughter, Tatum, named after her friend Tatum, played by Isabel May. And Scream 7 had probably one of the biggest uphill battles I have seen any movie have. It became another movie that just got thrusted into the culture war, I guess you would call it, if you even want to say it's thrusted into the culture war. But it's another movie where before it even came out, it was surrounded by controversy. Melissa Barrera getting fired, Jenna Ortega leaving, people threatening to boycott the movie, people boycotting the movie. The rift in the Scream fandom, I guess you want to call it, because there's some fans that say you're not a true fan if you don't see this movie. You're not a true fan if you don't boycott the movie. You got to love this movie. You got to hate this movie. This movie saved Scream. This movie ruined Scream. Just a lot of discourse, I guess you would call it, for the last few years. And I'm not picking any sides to it. If people don't want to see the movie, they are free to not see the movie. That is fine. If people want to see the movie, they're free to see the movie. It's no big deal. You pick and choose what you want to spend your money on. If you do feel strongly about not wanting to see the movie, then don't go see the movie. That's all. I wanted to see the movie because I've been a Scream fan for many years. I've enjoyed most of the Scream movies. Actually, no, that's a lot. I enjoy every Scream movie, even the Scream movies that I have mixed thoughts on that I don't think are all that great. Scream 3 being one of them. Not a good movie, but I enjoy the heck out of it. And hearing Sidney Prescott coming back, well, she's Sidney Evans now. Hearing Matthew Lillard coming back as Stu, seeing how they're going to incorporate that, seeing what Sidney Prescott's like as a mom, seeing what can Kevin Williamson do as the director. I was curious to go see the movie, and so I saw the movie and hear my thoughts on the movie. So Sidney Prescott is living in a new small town with her family, and a new Ghostface is out there. And this time, Ghostface is targeting not just Sidney, but her daughter as well. And I gotta say, Scream 7 represents to me the best and the worst of the Scream series. The high moments are high moments in the Scream franchise, and then the low moments are the lowest moments in the Scream franchise. I'm not saying it's like Star Wars The Last Jedi, but I wouldn't blame anyone if they said this is like the Last Jedi of Scream movies, because some people say the same thing about Last Jedi, where the highs are some of the highs in a Star Wars movie, but the lows are some of the lowest in a Star Wars movie. I'm going to get to the things I like about Scream 7, which is obviously Nev Campbell coming back as Sidney Prescott. I enjoyed Scream 6, but I really missed Nev Campbell's presence as Sidney in that movie. She's the original Scream girl, and she started this franchise. And seeing her in this new stage of her life as a mom to a teenager who is the same age as she was when the original attacks that Billy and Stu were behind back in 1996, seeing that play out, I really enjoyed that aspect, as well as this tension between them, because she's hesitant to talk about her past and Tatum wants to know more. Tatum feels like her mom's being overprotective. Yep, I really enjoyed that dynamic. I also enjoyed her husband, Mark Evans. And I probably wasn't the only one that was disappointed that Patrick Dempsey wasn't coming back playing Mark Kincard from Scream 3, because it looked like he was going to be Sydney's husband when they were saying in a couple of the previous movies, oh, her husband's Mark. And they were trying to make it work. They were trying to get Patrick Dempsey back. Patrick Dempsey did want to come back, but scheduling conflicts prevented it. So they got a different kind of Mark and got Joel McHale to play. But I was pleasantly surprised at how much I enjoyed having him as Sydney's husband. He's probably one of the few new characters in this movie that I generally liked. I did like his chemistry with Nev Campbell. And yeah, I bought into the fact that this guy would marry Sidney Prescott down the road. He's a police officer, very protective of his family. I enjoyed that aspect as well. Isabel May as Sydney's daughter, I'm going to be honest, when she first appears on screen, her first few scenes, she does come across as wooden to me. But over the course of the movie, and it could be because throughout the as the movie progresses, that's when the ghost face stuff is happening. That's when, yeah, you got to act your heart out. Her performance, I do feel like improves as the movie progresses, and by the time the movie wraps up, yeah, I did buy into the fact that she is Sidney Prescott's teenage daughter. I also enjoyed seeing Courtney Cox come back as Gail Weathers, as well as Mason Gooding and Jasmine Savoy Brown as the Meek Martin twins. But I felt like they weren't given that much. Now they're excellent as always. Gail's doing her thing. I like her and Sydney's dynamic, making how it has progressed throughout the franchise from where it originally was back in the first movie. And yeah, Gail is still Gail. She still does those things that will annoy Sydney, but Sydney still values her as a friend. And the Meek twins, particularly Mindy, he's still awesome as always. But it just feels like they're in a good chunk of the second act once after they're introduced. But then for most of the third act, they just don't appear for most of it. And I found that to be pretty weird. And you can make the case that without spoiling the movie, yeah, it makes sense for the Meek twins because something does happen to them where they don't appear until the end of the movie. So that can be excused, but Gail, it just feels like if Gail wasn't in the movie, it wouldn't be that different. She's still awesome, but yeah, the lack of Gail Weathers in this movie was very noticeable. Way more noticeable than her smaller role in Scream 6. And actually, I thought she was utilized very well in Scream 6 with what they were going for. And I feel like that's the big issue about Scream 7 that I have is that a lot of characters feel very underutilized. There's this new cast of characters, her daughter Tatum's friend group, and most of them have no character development. In fact, I would say the only two that have really any significance to the story are these two boys that are possible Ghostface suspects. Her boyfriend Ben, because he does something that Billy Loomis did, and Sydney knows right away, and she's very distrustful. And of course, the horror movie rules are don't trust the boyfriend, not just because of Billy Loomis, but Richie from Scream 5 as well. And then there's this awkward boy that is obsessed with the words bro killings. He's obsessed with true crime. He seems like an obvious suspect, but that's really what they're there for, to be two obvious suspects in the friend group behind the Scream killings. Speaking of the Scream killings are still, as usual, the best part of the movie. The way that they're handled, they're always done in some unique way. I really like the opening Ghostface sequence. You always got that opening sequence that introduces the new Ghostface, who the first victims are, and what they do. Minor spoiler, but we've seen it in the trailers. It takes place in Stu Macher's old house, which is turned into a Ghostface / stab Airbnb. And I would say it's definitely one of the longer openings to a Scream movie. But I personally thought it was one of my favorite ones just based on how it was done in the build up to it. And it also sets up one of the plot lines of this movie. And now we're going to get into the Matthew Lillard stuff, which is Stu Macher alive or not? So one of the big things that did get people hyped about Scream 7 again was Matthew Lillard coming back as Stu Macher, because Stu Macher is a fan favorite Scream character. He's a fan favorite Ghostface. He's my personal favorite Ghostface. I just love his performance in the first Scream movie. It's bonkers good. And he's wanted to come back as this character for quite some time. For those of you who don't know, Kevin Williamson almost brought him back for Scream 3 when he was originally attached to Scream 3. But then when he left the project, the story that he had was also gone and they reworked it. because not just the fact that Ken Williamson left, but also there was that debate about violence in movies and pop culture, and they toned down the script and changed things up. But Matthew Lillard has advocated to come back as Stu and believes Stu is still out there. Now, I'm not going to spoil, is Stu Macher alive or not? Is he AI or not? Is he just in dream sequences or not? Is he in flashbacks or not? Is it some person imitating Stu or not? I'll let you see the movie, but I'll say just manage your expectations. Now, don't get me wrong. When Matthew Lillard is on screen as Stu, he still got it. He is still crazy bonkers good as Stu Macher. Every time he appeared on the screen, I was just enjoying the heck out of it, regardless of how it was done and how other people are going to react to it. But I'll say going into the movie, I was 90% sure that's how they were going to do Stu Macher. And that's based on some of the other returning characters that were casted that I was surprised were going to be in this movie. I'm not going to say their names. We probably know by now who I'm referring to. It's cast members that were confirmed to be in the movie that I didn't mention at all in this video. But once I knew those two other cast members were confirmed, I was like, yeah, that's probably how they're going to bring Stu into this movie. And if you're fine with that, or if that was your expectation and prediction, you're most likely going to be fine with it. If you're neutral and don't care, you can go either way. You can enjoy it, or you may not enjoy it. If your theory going into the movie did not turn true, chances are you'll be disappointed. It's kind of like the Snoke reaction, like when Last Jedi happened and the Snoke theories, anyone's Last Jedi theories didn't come true and they were upset about that, which is another reason why I guess you can make the Last Jedi comparison to this movie. But the issue isn't how Stu Macher is brought back or some of the other themes that this movie touches upon, because I actually didn't mind that the movie was touching upon certain things that I'm like, at this point, if they don't utilize it in a Scream movie, when will they? Because it's relevant to the culture and today's culture. It's really the third act and the ghost face reveals that bug me in this movie. I can forgive certain new characters not getting that much screen time or getting that much development. It happens in a movie, it happens in any franchise. I can forgive inconsistencies or things that feel forced. But when a Scream movie's third act and ghost face reveal is the weakest part of a Scream movie, that's very disappointing for me. Because usually the third act is where the crazy action happens, the crazy ghost face kills, or fights happen. And here, it's not that exciting. I feel like the ghost face attacks in the second act are the highlight of this movie. That's where they're crazy good. But then the third act is just kind of meh, just very weak. And the reveals, I thought Scream 6 had the weakest reveals in the franchise. And before that, it was Billy Loomis's mom in Scream 2. Most of the time, I enjoy the ghost face reveals in a movie. Scream 1 still has the best one. Scream 2, Mickey, the freaky Tarantino film student, I liked that reveal. Not Billy Loomis's mom reveal. I was never really a big fan of her being a Ghostface suspect. Scream 3, for its faults, I did like the Romans reveal. Scream 4, I would probably say the second best reveal was in Scream 4, particularly with Jill Roberts being the Ghostface reveal. I was fine with Scream 5s as well, with Amber and Richie. Here, though, and I think part of that's also due to the fact that the suspects are the worst suspects for a Scream movie. At least in Scream 6, the three culprits, Richie's family, they were in the movie enough where it's like, okay, like they were in the story throughout. It makes slightly more sense. Here, it really doesn't. The one character is only in one scene, and the other character, maybe if they were shown more in the movie and had maybe done more with that character, which it looked like they wanted to do, maybe it would have made sense for at least that character. But even after the reveals, the action afterwards is very dull. It's very disappointing, especially for a Scream movie. And that's why leaving this movie, I enjoyed it, but I feel like this and Scream 3 are the weakest in the Scream franchise. I don't know which one I think is weaker yet. This one's still fresh on my mind because I feel like both movies do things right and do many things wrong. I would probably say Scream 3 is probably the more rewatchable, more enjoyable option, but I think Scream 7 also touches the tone of Scream better because Scream 3 is the most lighthearted one and it had to be toned down, as I mentioned earlier before. But that doesn't mean I think it's the worst horror movie ever. First of all, it's way better than Shelby Oaks. Definitely a lot better than Shelby Oaks. But still, even Scream at its worst compared to other sequels in other slasher films, like some of the Halloween sequels, some of the Nightmare on Elm Street sequels, some of the Friday the 13th sequels, even the crappy remakes of these franchises, Scream 7 is still better than those movies. And I feel like maybe this movie could have been better if you had just brought back Kevin Williamson as just a writer and where he could have more time to put the story together instead of director. Because I get it, like many people who are fans of Kevin Williamson, that was excited that he was coming back. You thought you were going to capture magic in a bottle again, like you did with the first four Scream movies. But it really just turns out that the duo of Wes and Kevin made that magic happen with the first four movies. And not saying that no director can fill Wes Craven's shoes, but I think if you maybe got a more experienced director in there, this movie could have been better. Especially because Kevin Williamson, I think he only has one other movie under his belt, and I don't know how true this is, but I heard that that movie had a similar situation to this one, where they were scrambling to find a director. And I know there's going to be people out there that are going to say, "Oh, this movie's bad because there's no Jenna Ortega or Melissa Barrera, there's no Carpenter sisters." Maybe that's true. Maybe that's not true because I know they had to rewrite this movie right away. So maybe the rush of rewriting this movie definitely hurt it. But I'm going to be honest. I think Skeet Ulrich shared this a few months ago. The original plot of Screen 7 was going to have Samantha Carpenter become Ghostface. I don't know how I would have felt about that because, at least from my point of view, it seemed like Samantha Carpenter was rejecting Billy Loomis's legacy, especially at the end of Screen 6, where she looks at Billy's mask and discards it and goes off with her sister. I don't know. I don't know if I would have been on board with Samantha Carpenter being the new Ghostface or a Ghostface in a future movie. So I don't even think the sequel would have been that much better than what we have gotten, unless they pulled it off very well or maybe had a different idea in mind. I don't know. No. But again, there are some good ideas in this movie. It's just they weren't executed well because the movie felt rushed. It felt like they had to get it out there. And I won't blame fans if they feel Scream burnout after this, if they decide that this is it for them in the Scream franchise. I mean, I think it's happened before with other movies. There are people that jump ship after Scream 5 and or 6. There are some people that jump ship after Scream 4 because they only want Wes Craven directing the Scream movies, and Wes Craven, may he rest in peace, can't direct anymore. There's some people that dip the Scream franchise after Scream 3 because they felt Scream 3's conclusion is the proper conclusion. They just need the trilogy. But the great thing about the Scream franchise for all the movies is they end in a way where they don't set up the next movie. They end where if this is it, if there's no more Scream movies, then this is the conclusion. But the door is slightly open if they want to continue to do more. And you can just bail whenever you want. Because there's going to be people that are going to see Scream 8. It's going to happen. Scream 8 is going to happen. This movie made a lot of money its opening weekend. And I'm sure people will jump ship after Scream 8 because they feel Scream 8 either ended things properly or Scream 8 is just not that good. But then when if Scream 9 happens, they'll still show up for that. There's people that are going to show up for any Scream movie. There's people that haven't grown out of this franchise yet. But again, that leads to the beauty that Ghostface can be anyone. It's always a different person. But anyways, those are my thoughts on Scream 7. Overall I did enjoy this movie, but it is probably one of, if not the weakest in the Scream franchise. I'm not going to say if it's going to age better over time. That's another great thing about the Scream sequels and Scream movies overall. They do age better over time. I can't say if this is going to age over time or not. I'll probably rewatch Scream 7 when I do my Scream marathon around Halloween. But yeah, overall, I'm going to give Scream 7 a C+. plus. A little disappointed with this movie, but not as bad as some people think, but it's not as good as some people will tell you either. Like there are some people that are saying this is the best sequel. Screw 5 and 6. That's just how crazy the Scream Discord has gotten. But yeah, those are my thoughts on Scream 7. Now, what did you think of Scream 7? Did you love it? Did you hate it? And what's your favorite or least favorite Scream movie or sequel? I'll share this one. Besides the first Scream movie, Scream 4 is probably my second favorite Scream movie. But yeah, let me know in the comments down below. I want to thank you guys for watching. Please like and subscribe already if you haven't. Please share this with someone that likes the Scream movies, that loves the Scream franchise. And I hope to see you guys real soon. Take care, everyone.